Alright, so this is the PrairieLearn homeworks tutorial for creating a custom assembly Docker image. So in the high-level overview here, we're on number 18, which is creating the Docker image, right after setting up external grading. So kind of what is Docker? Essentially, it's a minimized virtual machine, so it strips all the normal packages you might have on a Linux machine, just down to the bare necessities to keep it very small. This is what PrairieLearn is run on itself. And when PrairieLearn uses external grading, it calls a secondary Docker image from itself. So it's kind of like nested Docker containers. And this secondary image can be customized, which is what we're going to talk about. So how this all works, so we have our VM server, that's the machine that everything's hosted on. Then that spins up a Docker image of the PrairieLearn server, and PrairieLearn itself will call another Docker image for auto grading, and that Docker image only exists during that auto grading part. So this auto grading image it probably only exists for a few seconds, unless it's a really complicated piece of code that takes a while to compile. So the problem here is PrairieLearn only starts with 3 grading options: C, C++, Python, Java, and R. So I guess that's 4. But we want to grade assembly code and be able to emulate assembly code. So the solution for this is to use an existing Docker image. Say we take the C one for auto grading that PrairieLearn has already. We can use that as a template. We can copy it over and install the necessary packages to allow it to emulate and run assembly code. So in order to do this, we need to use Docker Hub, which is an online repository hosting place, very similar to GitHub. And this hosts our custom image. This is also what PrairieLearn does for their images. We need to copy over the existing PrairieLearn Grader C image as a template to our own Docker Hub account. And we will use Windows Docker Desktop to make we go into the Docker image and we install the packages we need to, and then we push it and save it. And then we will set the assembly questions to use our new custom image in the config. It's just a small change. You change the existing PrairieLearn one over to your name instead. So first thing you got to do is go to Docker Hub and log in. You can just log in using Google if you want. You have to make an account. Once you've done that and made an account, you go ahead and click Create Repository. It'll have your name there. You put a repository name it whatever you want, give it a description, and then you want to make sure it's on public, not private. So once you copy over, so now we're going to copy over the Grader C image to our own account. We're going to do a Docker pull of the existing Grader C. So Docker pull PrairieLearn Grader C, that's the image we want to copy over. And then we can, when we're done pulling that, we can see that in our Docker desktop, that line there at the bottom that says PrairieLearn Grader C. And now we want to copy it over. So we're going to use Docker tag to do that. We're going to tag Grader C, and you can include that latest at the end too, the colon latest. That's essentially branches in Docker. So latest is going to be like a main branch if you're familiar with GitHub. So you're going to tag the PrairieLearn image to your own image, whatever name that is. For my example, BR3WT, and then my image name is tutorial-grader. You'll replace that whatever your image name is. So after you're done with that, we want to Docker run our image that we just tagged. All right, now we're going to run our custom image. So we can do that with a Docker run command. Make sure you include that tac it that allows us to go into the shell and then have the name of your image there at the end. This will put you in a Linux shell of your image. And first thing you want to do is run apt-get update just to make sure you're updated on the packages so before you install them. Once that is done, you're going to install the required packages in order to emulate ARM assembly. So it's just 3 packages. This might take a little bit. It's like 2 gigabytes, not too bad. But after that's done, you can just type exit, and that'll bring you back to your command prompt in Windows. And then you want to docker commit, so we got to save these changes. You need the container ID for this, which you can find by doing docker ps. You see that image there, there's my container ID. I run docker commit, then the container ID, then the image name. Again, you can put in that latest, :latest at the end. It gives you a hash. It's not really important though. So after you commit it, you want to do docker push, again with the image name at the end. And that'll save your changes that you just made by adding the packages and stuff. So now we're going to set our questions to use our new grader. So inside the info.json file of a specific question that you want assembly to be emulated on, you're going to go scroll down to where it says image, replace the existing PrairieLearn grader C with your image name. And now you can also see, if you go to the sync tab in PrairieLearn, you'll see that your Docker image will be displayed there as well. So the next video is going to explain how to actually run or emulate and grade student assembly code, or when you're generating your own assembly code for questions, how to emulate that as well.